The reason that NATO looks the way that it does, especially with the inclusion of Greece and Turkey, is because there was a man called George Kennan who, in the late 1940s, wrote something called the Long Telegram. And this telegram is taught pretty much in every international relations school. And it details, among many other things, how the way to deal with Russia must be not direct confrontation, as Patton would have advocated, but it must be containment. And the way to contain Russia is to surround it with an alliance that would mean that it can no longer expand, and to constantly apply pressure on it so that it collapses. Now, George Kennan is highly revered because the strategy that he advocated was implemented. And 50 years later, it proved to be successful. The guy was a genius. He was a visionary. He got it right the first time. And the West listened to him, and what he predicted happened. In 1996, the same guy says, don't you even dare to expand NATO. This is a terrible idea. It's going to turn Russia militaristic. It's going to turn Russia aggressive. It will break down the relationship between the West and Russia, and it is inevitable that it will lead to more wars. William Burns, who was a senior diplomat under Obama and became the head of the CIA under Biden, he was ambassador to Russia in the 2000s. And in 2008, I think, he writes a telegram back home saying, look, the Russians are really serious about their red lines in Georgia and in Ukraine. If you incorporate Georgia or Ukraine into NATO, there is definitely going to be a war. You had Samuel Huntington, who in Clash of Civilizations, I think came out in 1994, said that the only option for Ukraine is that it remain a neutral country. And because it has two nationalities. It has a Russian nationality and a Ukrainian nationality. And the Russians are Orthodox and some of the Ukrainians are Catholic. And if you try to make Ukraine fully take a side, this is going to lead to a civil war, and the Russians will intervene in that civil war. You have Henry Kissinger saying that if we push NATO to Ukraine, there's going to be war. And you have Noam Chomsky on the opposite end of the political spectrum, saying that the expansion of NATO is bound to lead to war with Russia. So you have these very intelligent, educated people from the realist camp, from the right, from the center, from the left, all saying pretty much the same thing. The expansion of NATO to Ukraine and talking about including NATO in Ukraine is bound to lead to war. And that's pretty much what happens. And so when you think that this is, as the propagandists insist, completely unprovoked, it's just not real. It's just not true. There's no basis to say something of that sort. Everybody in the know in the 1990s, the people who fought the Cold War, like Kissinger and George Kennan, who were both, whatever else you want to say about them, especially about Kissinger, they were geniuses. They knew that trying to bring Ukraine into the Western orbit fully means that there's going to be a war. Why? Because when you join NATO, you're not just signing a piece of paper saying, okay, I'm friends with America now, and we have this, Article 5 that forces us to declare war if one of us is attacked. You're doing a lot more than that. You are redesigning your army along Western principles so that it can operate freely with any other Western army, meaning that you are becoming a force multiplier for the United States in the way that you can see that, British, Italian, and German ships have no problem working together under American command. When you join NATO, you're putting your military under American command. You're not just signing an alliance, because you can't defend the Americans. You're saying to the Americans, defend you, And in exchange, I will let you lead my army. That's what NATO is. And the idea that this is purely defensive, that's another one of these propagandistic myths. So this is the context that you must remember. This is what happened in the 90s. Russia was on its knees begging to join the West. And because it was down, it got kicked. And it got repeatedly kicked. And that's how we ended up with Vladimir Putin.
If you enjoyed this piece of premium content from the Lotus Eaters, head to our website where you can find more.